Welcome to the Way of Mastery. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to the Way of Mastery. We're gathering our mighty companions, and our mighty companions are coming in right now, so we can have a powerful experience of the truth together. Welcome to Facebook Live. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. I'm Earl Purdy, and we are going to go deep into our true selves. We're going to go beyond the thinking of the world. We're going to go beyond the thinking of our ego. We're going to go beyond the thinking of the past. We're in the Way of Mastery, Lesson 31, in the way of knowing, placing your trust and loyalty in love, placing your trust and loyalty in love. We're going to be on page 352. We're going to be on page 352 in the Way of Knowing, lesson 31, placing your trust and your loyalty in love. Page 352 in the Way of Knowing. Want to welcome you to the Way of Mastery. This is Earl Purdy. It's so good to see my mighty companions coming online. So good to have my mighty companions coming online. And we're going to be on lesson 31, placing your trust and loyalty in love. Remember, you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist. Some of these ideas you're going to find hard to believe. Some of these ideas may seem to be quite startling. We don't analyze. We're not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Using the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you. I say using the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you. So in order to get really centered, there's something I'm just going to share with you, and I want you to take this opportunity to allow yourself to get really centered, okay? So just listen to what I'm going to share from the Way of Mastery. Take a breath and just listen to this from the Way of Mastery. Placing your trust and your loyalty in love. Beloved and holy friends, listen to me now. As always, and though I have repeated this to you often, I say it to you again and yet again. It is with joy that I come forth to abide with you. It is with great joy that I come forth to abide with you. For relationship is the holiest of all places. Do you hear me? Relationship between any two who choose to look upon each other. Having looked within and found no lack. Having looked within and found no lack. For those two can then look out upon one another and see only perfect innocence. Let's look out upon one another and just see perfect innocence. Will you look at me and see perfect innocence? I will look at you and see perfect innocence, and only perfect peace, and only perfect love. I look at you and you look at me, and we see only perfect innocence, only perfect peace, and only perfect love. Let's look at each other just like that. Therefore, it is with joy that I join with you. I say, it is with joy that I join with you. For I look upon you with perfect peace. I look upon you with perfect peace. I look upon you with perfect love. I look upon you with perfect trust. So take a breath, receive this, receive this. This is your test in receiving. This is your test in receiving. My loyalty to you is unshakable. My loyalty to you is unshakable. My loyalty to you is unshakable. No event that occurs in the realm of your space and time can taint the loyalty which I know to the depth of truth that is in your very self. The truth in you is that which is unshakable, that which is unchanging, that which is unchangeable and unchanged forever. For my loyalty is perfectly pure. My loyalty is perfectly pure. My trust of you is unfathomable and immeasurable. How can my trust and faith in you be immeasurable? For perhaps even now your mind says, well, yes, but last week I got angry. I got angry with my spouse. 3 weeks ago I forgot to pay for that candy bar I picked up in the store. Since I'm such a terrible person, your loyalty, Yeshua, is misplaced. But do you know that my trust in you emerges from my trust in my Creator? My trust in you emerges from my trust in my Father. My trust in you, my trust in you, my trust in you, my trust in you emerges from the perfect knowledge. My trust in you emerges from the perfect knowledge that you belong only to that one that I have called Abba. You belong only to that one that I have called God. You belong only to that one that I have called Creator. So do you know my trust? My trust is the expression of what I have come to know as I have looked into the depth of my own being, both within my physical incarnation that became rather famous. This is a message from Yeshua. And also since then, when I discovered the perfection of love that pervades all things and can be seen beneath the surfaces and through the appearances that the body's eyes and the ego's thought system would show you. Now, what do I mean by what I just said? What do I mean by that? As you abide in your physical world, the greatest challenge that you have, moment to moment and moment to moment, the greatest challenge that you have is to be vigilant. What do you have to do? Be vigilant. What do you need to do? Be vigilant. Against what? Against identifying with your perceptions. Be vigilant against identifying with the perceptions which are born and birth as a result of the physical apparatus of the body itself. Be vigilant against what? Identifying with the perceptions which are born and birthed as a result of the physical apparatus of the body itself. Now let yourself hear, let yourself just hear, in order to bring the truth in, let yourself hear what Yeshua is saying from the way of mastery. That is, you look out through a body. That is where your attention seems to be. You look out through a body. That is where your attention seems to be. Your apparatus, called your body, immediately shows you a world of objects separated by space. Your physical eyes show you a world full of objects separated by space. Your physical eyes immediately show you a world of objects separated by space. If you identify with the level of perception, if you identify with what you physically see through your body, you can only conclude that you are separate from one another. If you identify with the way things seem when you look through your body's eyes, you can only conclude that you are separate from everyone else. When you see events happening, it is absolutely impossible to see the subtle interconnection of all events. When you see events happening, it's impossible for you to see all the subtle interconnections of all events. You fall into the trap of forgetting that you live in the universe. You fall into the trap because you can become so focused on your personal experience. Do you know that because you can become so focused on your personal experience, you fall into the trap? What is the trap that you fall into? You fall into the trap of forgetting that you live not just in the local place where you are. You live in the universe. You live in the universe. You live in the universe. The universe. The universe. You live in the universe. You live in the universe. Think about that. And universe means simply one turning. Universe means one song. The universe means one event occurring, like an ocean is but one event, expressing in many waves. The ocean is just one event expressing in many ways. The universe is just one event expressing in many ways. So too do all events, every event in the field of space and time, every event in the field of physical matter merely emerge from that one universe. Do you know that you have emerged from this one universe? Keep listening, keep listening, keep listening, keep listening. Let it in. Let what the way of mastery is saying through me, let it in. Do you know that from the body's level of perception, do you know that from the body's level of perception, the thinking mind In association with the body, the thinking mind creates interpretations that you are using your thinking mind in association with your body. You create interpretations. You create interpretations of what your mind believes it is seeing. Do you know that you are creating interpretations of what you are looking at? Do you know that you are creating interpretations of what you are seeing? And do you know that right now, your attention, your awareness is already twice removed from reality? Do you realize that your attention, your awareness is already twice removed from reality? Your awareness is already twice removed from reality. So what do I mean when I say your awareness is already twice removed from reality? What I mean is, first, you have become hoodwinked. Are you aware that you are hoodwinked? So what does that mean when I say you are hoodwinked? Well, you are hoodwinked because you're thinking that what the body's eyes show you is truly real. You think that what you are looking at through your physical eyes is truly real. You are hoodwinked according to the way of mastery because you think what your eyes are showing you is truly significant. For instance, let me tell you what I'm talking about. For instance, you love someone. Let's say, for instance, you love someone. You love someone and then they're here today and tomorrow they leave you. Let's say you love someone and they're with you right now, but tomorrow they leave you. You see them pack their things and their body leaves. Their body leaves. Let's say you love someone. They're here today, tomorrow they leave you. You see them pack their things and their body leaves. And your physical eyes show you that they are gone. Your physical eyes go, okay, they just drove off. Your physical eyes say, oh, that person who used to love me, they left me and they're gone. And so your mind says to you, when that person leaves that you thought you loved, your mind says, woe is me. I have lost my love. Neither of these is true. There's no reason for you to be sad because it looked like someone you loved left you, and it's not true that you have lost your love. Do you know the level at which reality is far deeper than the level of the body? At the level of the soul, the level at which reality is far deeper than the level of the body. The soul can never go anywhere. Your soul can never go anywhere. No other soul can ever really go anywhere. No one you have ever met, no one you have ever known can ever be outside of your heart through his or her own action. Through his or her own action, there's nobody you've ever met, there's nobody you've ever known that can be outside of your heart through their action. No matter what you do, you don't have to be outside of my heart. There is nothing you can do to make you outside of my love. The body can leave. The person that thinks that they are a body, the person that thinks they are a body, the body mind. Yes, the body can leave. The body mind can leave. The body mind can leave. But that is not what takes someone out of your heart. Someone leaving you, that's not what takes them out of your heart. Someone leaving you is not what takes someone out of your love and out of your heart. So what is it that takes someone out of your love? What is it that takes someone out of your heart? It can only be your decision. It can only be your decision to withdraw love. To withdraw love. It can only be your decision. It is only the withdrawing of love. It is only the withdrawing of love that creates separation in the experience of your awareness. So what? It is only holding back your love. It is only withholding your love that creates separation in the experience of your awareness. It can only be you withdrawing your love that creates separation in the experience of your awareness. So you are now sitting 2 levels removed from reality. Do you know that you are now sitting 2 levels removed from reality? First, you become hoodwinked. I'm going to tell you again. You have become hoodwinked, thinking that the physical eyes show you what is true. You are totally fooled. You are totally deceived. You are totally hoodwinked if you think that the physical eyes show you what is true. If you believe that your physical eyes are showing you what is true, if you believe your physical eyes are showing you what is true, then do you realize you are hoodwinked? Then you draw conclusions and you create interpretations of what the events. You create interpretations of the events the body's eyes show you. You are creating interpretations of the events your eyes show you. You are interpreting the events that your eyes show you. Do you hear what I am saying? You create interpretations of the events your body's eyes show you. And your interpretations create the emotional effect. So your emotions are coming from your interpretations. The emotional effects are coming from your interpretations. That is like a soup. Your emotional effects are like a soup that runs through you. Your emotions are like a soup that surrounds you. Your emotions are like a soup that surrounds you and that will surround you until your emotions are healed. Listen, 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 listen. The third level of being removed from reality. What is the third level of being removed from reality? What's the third level of being removed from reality? What is the third level of being removed from reality? The third level is the trick of the mind. The third level of being removed from reality. Do you know it is the trick of the mind in which the mind insists that its interpretations are fact? So how do you fool yourself at the third level? At the third level of fooling yourself, you insist that your interpretations are true. You can deceive yourself at the third level of deception if you create interpretations and you insist that your interpretations are true. So the first level of deception and removing yourself from reality is that you believe that what your physical eyes tell you are true. And then you draw conclusions and you create interpretations of what your eyes show you. You are creating interpretations of what your eyes show you. And the third level of deception is you believe your interpretations are true. You believe your interpretations are true. It is this level of the mind that I ask within A Course in Miracles, would you rather be right or happy? 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 Keep listening, keep letting it in, keep letting it in. I'm going to do some interaction in a few minutes. Let it in, let it in. So, what will your happiness be the result of? What will your happiness be the result of? Your happiness will be the result of perfect trust. Perfect trust results in happiness. Happiness is the result of perfect trust. And perfect trust emerges from perfect loyalty. Perfect trust comes from perfect loyalty. Perfect loyalty is complete loyalty. Do you know that complete trust emerges from complete loyalty? Perfect trust comes from what? Perfect loyalty. And perfect loyalty emerges spontaneously. Perfect loyalty emerges spontaneously in the mind that rests. Perfect loyalty will emerge spontaneously in a mind that has rested in surrender. I rest in surrender. Say that to yourself. I rest in surrender. I rest in surrender. I rest in surrender. Say that. I rest in surrender. In surrender I rest. I rest in surrender. And in surrender I rest. Now, we've spoken of the keys to the kingdom. In the past, we've talked about the keys to love. We've talked about the keys to happiness. And there are 4 keys to the kingdom. What are the 4 keys to the kingdom? Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. So those are the 4 keys to happiness. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender are the keys to the kingdom. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Desire, intention, allowance, surrender. So what happens in allowance? What happens in allowance? Well, when you are in allowance, do you want to know what you go through? Okay, listen carefully. You go through a period of deep undoing. In allowance, what do you go through? You go through a period of deep undoing. So what does that mean? In allowance, you disconnect the wiring that has led you to insist on the rightness of the interpretations that you have created. In order to allow, you have to stop insisting that the way that you are seeing things is right. If you're in any form of fear, upset, worry, concern, in order to go into the stage of allowance, you have to disconnect the wiring in your mind that has led you to insist on the rightness of the interpretations that you have created, and then linked to events that your physical body mind has perceived. In order to allow your good, do you know that in order to allow your blessings, in order to allow happiness, you have to stop insisting that your interpretations of things is correct. Stop insisting that your interpretations of things are correct. So what happens as you perfect allowance? Well, when you have perfected allowance, you have come to see that your world and everything that you have constructed has been undone. What I'm talking about is this. When you have perfected allowance, that means your perception of belief, your perception of your feeling nature, your perception of what is has been undone. So allowance unravels the mind. Allowance no longer insisting that your interpretations are correct, especially when you're unhappy. That is the perfect state of allowance. When your old way of learning when your mind is unraveled. Now, as long as you have a body, the perception of the body and mind, of course, you're going to be here, you're going to wake up, and you're still going to have perceptions. You're still, as long as you have a body, mind, you will have perceptions. Let me give you an example. Continue to listen. Continue to listen. The physical eyes seem to show you that there is someone in another body over there, and they are doing what they're doing. Like right now, if you're watching this, your physical eyes are showing you that I am in this body over here. Like right now, if you're looking at me, it looks like I'm in this body over here. And it looks like I'm doing what I'm doing, which is teaching the way of mastery, sharing the way of mastery. And it also looks like you are doing whatever you are doing. It looks like you're over there listening to me, watching me. So it looks like there cannot be any connection between us, because it looks like you are over there and I am over here. You are over there and I am over here. The physical eyes seem to show you that there is someone in another body over there, and they are doing what they're doing. So it looks like there's no connection between us, because it looks like you're over there and I'm over here. And that level of separation, that level of disconnectedness goes on as long as there is a body. As long as you think that you are a body, it's going to look like you're surrounded by separation. As long as you only perceive things at the level of the body, it's going to look like there's separation between you and others. As long as you are using your physical senses, it's going to look like I'm over here, and it's going to look like you're over there. However, if you have a mind that is healing, if you have a mind that is healing, it does not identify the bodily level that sees separation as the primary level of reality. So what did I just say? You can tell if your mind is healing. How can you tell if your mind is healing? How can you tell if your mind is healing? You will not identify the physical level as the primary level of reality. The physical level, the level where you look out through your physical senses, is not the primary level of reality. The physical level is not the primary level of reality. You realize that when your mind is healing, you realize that the physical level is not the primary level of reality. When your mind is healing, you do not identify the physical level as the primary level of reality. When your mind is healing, you do not look at the physical body level as the primary level of reality. When you're beginning to wake up spiritually and your mind is healing, you do not identify the physical level that shows you separation as the primary level of reality. So whenever you go into the place of allowance, how can you tell when you go into the place of allowance? You surrender the construct that has been made up in the mind. Surrender the constructs that you have made up in the mind. One, rest in an unobstructed allowance of how the body mind goes through its days until it returns to dust. So when you begin to wake up, you realize that the physical level is not the primary level of reality. When you wake up and you are waking up, you just rest in the unobstructed allowance of how your body mind goes through its days until it dies. But there is no longer you being hoodwinked. That means you go about your day, you allow whatever the body mind does to happen during the day, but you are no longer hoodwinked. When your mind is healed, do you know that when your mind is really healing, you are no longer being attached, no longer being swept up with that level of identification? When you are waking up, you're no longer being swept up with the physical level of identification because when you wake up, when you begin to have a healed mind, there is no longer a need to identify with your interpretations. When your mind is healed, you no longer identify with your interpretations. When your mind is healing, you no longer identify with your interpretations of things. And there is no longer, quite happily, when your mind is healing, there is no longer any need to be right. When your mind is healing, there is no longer any need to be right. So let me look at some of your comments. Jackie says, surrender the construct that you have made up in your mind. Kim says, the physical level is not the primary level of reality. Joanne says, the physical level is not the primary level of reality when the mind is healing. Alita says, I will allow happiness. I will not insist that my interpretation of things are correct. Alita says, let me allow all things. These are the comments. Kim says, desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Those are the 4 keys to the kingdom. Brooke says, desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Those are the 4 keys to the kingdom. Yvette says, I rest in surrender. I hear you, Yvette. She says, I rest in surrender. And Joanne says, in surrender, I rest. Brooke says, I can feel the peace with that statement. Jacqueline says, I rest in surrender. I rest in surrender. Myrna says, happy. Andrea says, I'd rather be happy than right. Those are some of the comments that your mighty companions are sharing. Jackie says, I no longer have to be right. Demola Demola says, when my mind is healing, I will give up and surrender the need to be right in all situations. When my mind is healing, I will give up and surrender the need to be right in all situations. That's what Demola says. I'm so glad that we're using this time together to be here live in real time with each other. Please share this class, this video on your timeline. You will have the option to share the video. You'll see right next to comments. You can share this live broadcast. Please do that. Please do that. Now, are you aware that as allowance comes to completion, something quite magical happens? When you really stop insisting on being right about your interpretations of things, when you stop insisting on being right even when you're wrong, and you know you're wrong if you're miserable, sad, unhappy, guilty, sick, angry, and think you're alone, lonely, and going through lack. If you think any of those things, if any of those things are your interpretation, then you need to work on allowance. You need to realize you are responding to your own interpretations and be willing not to be right. And if you do that, something quite magical happens. And it's beyond all comprehension of your thinking mind. Something's going to happen that's beyond your comprehension when you stop insisting on being right about your interpretations. Your ego, the part of you that thinks that you are right in your interpretations, the ego could never comprehend what I'm about to share. As you begin to do allowance, it's going to feel like something that used to exist within you that was contracted in fear dies. As you continue to practice allowance, it's going to be like something that used to be afraid inside of you dies. And it dissolves. And it dissolves just like the mist before a rising sun. And when the part of you that used to insist on being right, the part of you that believed its fearful interpretations, that part of you is going to die and dissolve. And all that is left is a quiet spaciousness in which your awareness has been purified. So this is what's going to happen after your mind is healed. Do you want to know what's going to happen after your mind is healed? Events will still arise and events will pass away. Even when your mind is healed, events are still going to happen and events are going to pass away. You're going to continue to talk with your friends even when your mind is healed. And you may talk to your friends the way you have always talked to your friends. You're going to begin to notice that there's a part of you, your body, mind, and you're going to notice that there's a part of you that still creates interpretations. And you're going to find that there's still a part of you that creates interpretations. And you're going to see that some of the interpretations that your mind makes are going to be interpretations that are quite necessary. For instance, you may look at a traffic light and you may say that the light just turned red. That might be an interpretation you make. So my interpretation, when the traffic light turns red, my interpretation is that I need to stop. So even after enlightenment, even after your mind is healed, you're still going to make some interpretations. Some of the regular interpretations, you might still be talking to your friend. You're going to still make the interpretation that if the traffic light turns red, you need to stop. But now there's going to be something that's wrapped around all of that. There's going to be something that's wrapped around all of that, so that what you're going to get to the point that you're going to see those kind of things as ultimately quite inconsequential. You're going to see those day-to-day interpretations as quite innocent. You're going to see the interpretations that you make all day long. You're going to start to see those interpretations as devoid of any real deep value. So now what are you going to do? You're going to place your loyalty in a new place. After your mind is healed, after you have practiced allowance, you're no longer insisting on being right about your interpretations, especially when you're unhappy. Then you're still going to be doing day-to-day interpretations. You're still going to be talking to your friends. You may interpret stuff like, I need to stop at that traffic light because it just turned red. But more and more, it's just going to be inconsequential to you. You just know that it's part of being in this physical realm. But you know that it's not really any big deal. So you're going to place your loyalty on something new. So what is the new thing you're going to place your loyalty? Where are you going to place your loyalty? You are going to place your loyalty on what you have decided to value. You're going to start being loyal to what you have decided to value. And that's going to be a spaciousness. You're going to be loyal to a perfect stillness. You're going to be loyal to deep peace of mind. You're going to be loyal to your selfhood. You are going to dissolve in surrender. Your loyalty is going to be placed in surrender. Now, anyone that has awakened, truly spiritually awakened, anyone who has spiritually awakened knows exactly what surrender feels like. Anyone who has begun to awaken has touched on moments of perfect surrender. You have had moments of perfect surrender, because let me tell you what happens. If you are in surrender, your mind sees that all things are arising. Your mind, when you have surrendered, you realize and see all things are passing away. All things that are arising and passing away are perfectly harmless. When you spiritually awaken, you'll know that everything that's coming up and everything that's leaving is perfectly harmless. You know that what you're looking at when you wake up spiritually, you will know that what you are looking at has no real value, because what you're looking at abides in time. And do you know that all things of time, all things in time, are like waves that arise from the ocean? Because everything that exists in time, everything that lives in time, it has a beginning, and anything that you see in time everything in time will have an end. Anything in time has a beginning and an ending. Anything in time has a beginning and an ending. And because it begins and ends, when you are spiritually awakened, you will realize that anything that begins and ends, anything that's temporary, when you wake up spiritually, you will realize that anything that begins and ends ultimately has no value. Just because something began in time, that assures that it's going to end in time. So what would a fool do? Where Master says, what would a fool do? Well, a fool, only a fool would create loyalty to that which is temporary. Only a fool would be loyal to something that's temporal. Only a fool would be loyal to things that are ultimately unfulfilling. I'll say that again. It's foolish to be loyal to something that's temporary. It's foolish to be loyal to something that begins and ends in time. That's what an enlightened man knows. So what would the wise of heart? What is the decision that the wise of heart, what kind of decision would the wise of heart make? So what kind of decisions will you make when you become truly wise? What kind of decision will you make? What is the decision that you will make when you become truly wise? You will place your value on that which is eternal. Place your value on things that do not end. A wise soul values what does not end. A consciously evolving soul values what is permanent and what you can always depend on. And a fool puts all of their loyalty, effort, and belief into things that are temporary, impermanent, that begin in time and end in time. And what could really be eternal but God? The only thing that is eternal is love. A wise being puts all their faith and loyalty into things that last. And what is permanent and everlasting but God? And God is love. God is but love. Therefore, in the way of the heart and in the way of transformation, and now, right now, in the way of knowing all that we have sought to share with you, everything that we have sought to share with you has been by design. This whole teaching, this whole course was designed. So what was this course designed to do? This course, the way of mastery, the way of the heart, the way of transformation, the way of knowing, was designed to lead you to see that is love is the only thing worth valuing. Love is unconditional. Love merely loves in order to live in its nature. And because God is but love, as your mind disentangles itself from the perceptual level of the body mind, as your mind disentangles itself from the interpretations selected and created by your mind, and then overlaid upon all the events in your life, and especially as your mind disentangles itself from the egoic need to be right, as your mind disentangles itself from your egoic need to be right about what you've made, that which you are, and what are you, as you disentangle your mind from your interpretations and insisting on being right, then that which you are, and now I'm going to tell you what you are. You are pure intelligence. You are pure intelligence. You are pure, infinite, creative possibility. You are pure, infinite, creative possibility. So you're going to shift yourself into being identified only with valuing love. As you become truly intelligent, as you become pure, infinite, creative possibility, you are going to identify with just valuing real love. A conscious being, an awake being, only values unconditional love. When the only thing you value is unconditional love, that's when you are pure intelligence. That's when you are pure, infinite, creative possibility. And this is the same as saying, I value only God. So say that with me. I value only God. 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 I value only love. I value only love. I value only love. Say it with me, please, now. I value only love. I value only love. I value only love. I value only love. Then your soul begins to awaken. The soul, this drop of pure light, which is pure intelligence, your pure intelligence begins to reawaken. You begin to realize that to know God, it must be God. Since God is only love, the soul desires to be, your soul desires to be only love. For in loving as God loves, God is known. So you will know God when you love like God. That's when you will know love, when you love as love does. As God is known, as self is realized and remembered, God is known as yourself is realized and remembered. And the dream of the dreamer is transcended. You're the dreamer and your dream is transcended. Your dream is transcended when you only value love. Therefore, indeed, beloved friends, my trust in you is perfect. My trust in you is perfect. For I have come to value only God, my loyalty to you. As the offspring of my Father, my loyalty to you stems from having received that enlightenment for myself. Having awakened from the maze, which is the complex web of perceptions in my body and my mind. Having awakened from the maze, which is the interpretations that the body-mind places on events. Having awakened from the maze of the ego's construct of what it feels it is right about. It's time for you to awaken from your ego's constructs of what it feels it is right about. Because I have dissolved all of that, I abide in pure devotion. You can abide in pure devotion only to what is truly real. Only be devoted 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 to what is truly real. And perfectly unconditional. The presence of my Father, Mother, God. I am living in pure devotion only to what is truly real, and what is truly real is perfectly unconditional love. What's truly real is perfectly unconditional love. It's what's truly real is perfect unconditional love. What is truly real? Perfect unconditional love, which is the presence of our Father, our Creator. God is love. So, being totally devoted to the presence of God is the same as being totally devoted to the presence of love. When you are truly awake, when you are truly enlightened, you're going to only be devoted to the presence of love. You are going to be loyal to the truth above anything that's temporary, anything that your body's eyes see. Wow. 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 I'm going to listen to this over and over and over. Mighty companion, thank you for listening to The Way of Mastery with me. I'm going to do a quick little recap at the end. I'm going to ask you as a full-time teacher to share if you would like to make an expression, a financial expression of appreciation. Just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. I am a full-time teacher. This is my way of serving in the world. All that I receive comes through my teaching and being a conduit for Holy Spirit. So if you like to make a financial expression of appreciation, go to my website, Earl Purdy, PURDY.com. You can also use Venmo. My email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I am available for clarity sessions. Very powerful sessions taken in all 40 years of teaching and sharing and counseling that I have done. It's called a clarity session. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and read all about the clarity session, and you can book a personal session with me right online. On Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do hardcore Course in Miracles. On Sundays, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do a Course in Miracles before a live audience, and I also do it simultaneously on Facebook Live. On Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do the Way of Mastery. These are ways to wake up to who we really are. So, what we want to do is leave complete with one thought. One thought. So I'd like to my spirit is telling me now, just remember, if you believe just what you see through your physical eyes and physical senses, do you know that the Way of Mastery says you are deceived, you are hoodwinked, you are fooled? And it told us that you create interpretations of everything you see physically. And those interpretations have an emotional effect on you. And so if you want to be free, stop insisting that your interpretations are correct. How do you know if your interpretations are incorrect? You feel fear, anger, contraction, sickness, lack, guilt, attack, upset, and you see separation. Don't insist that those interpretations are right. How else can you tell if you have a misplaced loyalty? Then your primary value is on things that are temporary, things that begin in time and end in time. That's how you can tell when you are valuing something that is not ultimately valuable. What else did we hear? We were told that even when you are enlightened and your mind has been healed, you will still see through your physical body. You will still be interacting with your friends. There will still be some interpretations that you still make, like regular day-to-day interpretations, like I know I need to interpret, for instance, that traffic light is red, so that means I need to stop. In other words, you will still be going about your day-to-day interpretations, but it will not be important, so consequential to you. The other thing we heard is that when your mind is healed, that you will only value what can never leave you and you can never leave. That you will value only love. You will value a love that is unconditional. Love is unconditional. Love merely loves in order to abide in its own nature. When you are enlightened, you're going to disentangle your mind from all of the interpretations and judgments that you have created, and you are going to let go of your need to be right when you are awakened. Then you are who you really are. You are pure intelligence. You are pure, infinite, creative possibility. And so you're going to identify yourself only with valuing love. I value only God. 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 Let's say it together. We value only God. 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 Take a breath. Take a breath. Say this together. Mighty companions, let's say this together. Say, I value only love. Ready? Ready? Are you with me? Here we go. Here we go. I value only love. 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 We 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 value only love. You value only God. You value only God. You value only God. You value only God. I 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 value only God. Mighty companions, we did this together, mighty companion. We are using this time together to join live with each other. And even if you're watching the replay, you're still tapping into our one soul consciousness. Nobody has ever really left you. We are not separate. You are not separate from me unless I separate from you in my heart. Unless I withdraw my love from you, I won't experience you as separate from me. Unless I withdraw my love from you, I will not experience you as separate from me unless I withdraw my love from you. Unless I withdraw my love from you. I value only God. 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 We 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 value only God. Whew. Thank you. I love you. You're blessings in my heart and in my life. Listen to this over and over. Watch this over and over. Mighty companion, may this course be with you. I love you.